Part 65. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 643. 641. Kijiakin's achievements were all achieved by his hard work, so he could not take advantage of Chi Shulai, so he was willing to be promoted no matter what. Chi Shulai wanted to transfer Chi Daza through his in-laws, Secretary Zhang of the County Party Committee, so that he could legitimately become the village party secretary. Now Kijia village is both a Daowin and a factory, with a lot of oil and water. It's just that Chi Shulai has a good plan, but Secretary Chi won't be fooled. He doesn't like it at all and is not willing to go. Chi Shu was so exhausted that he lay in bed for several days. The bamboo basket fetched nothing, and he continued to work as the village accountant. Huo Yingji could vaguely guess the real reason, but he also understood Secretary Chi's thoughts. Actually, Kijia village is quite good. If you tell me now, who wouldn't give you a thumbs up, Huo Yingji said. It is rare for a village chief to be as good as village chief Chi. Haha, thank you for the award, Secretary Chi said modestly, but his expression was very proud. The income in the village has increased, the birth rate has dropped, and life has certainly gotten better and better. After chatting for a while, He Tian left. She was worried that her two children would wake up and go home to take care of them. Huo Yingji drank with village chief Chi and didn't go home until 9 o'clock in the evening. Huo Yingji drank a lot of wine and was drunk, with a slightly red face. While drinking, Huo Yingji talked more than usual, and would also giggle from time to time, and secretly kissed He Tian when He Tian wasn't paying attention. Okay, it's getting late. You hurry up and take a shower. I'll get you some clothes, He Tian said, brush your teeth well. Your mouth smells like wine. Kiss me and I'll go. Huo Yingji smiled, a bit rogue, but also a bit cute. When He Tian saw Huo Yingji like this, she really wanted to hold him in her arms, ravage him, and torture him. Then if I don't kiss you, will you stop washing? He Tian asked, teasing Huo Yingji. Huo Yingji like this is very rare. Huo Yingji nodded seriously and said coquettishly, well, I won't wash it. If you don't want to wash, then you can sleep on the floor. He Tian pushed Huo Yingji away quickly and said, hurry up and wash up, you're burning the child. Haha, okay. Huo Yingji kissed her, was very talkative, and took a towel to wash up. He Tian took the vest and pants and gave them to Huo Yingji. By the time Huo Yingji came back, He Tian was already asleep. He Tian was tired from traveling for the past 2 days. Huo Yingji couldn't bear to make trouble with He Tian and gently hugged He Tian to sleep. When the child woke up at night, Huo Yingji got up immediately to make milk powder, preventing He Tian from getting up. Fortunately, you only need to drink milk powder once at night. As long as it is done in time, the child will not cry. The next morning, when He Tian woke up, she helped him make breakfast. Huo Yingji dressed and washed the child, doing a decent job. Grandma Chi-san and old man Chi looked at each other when they saw Huo Yingji like this, and saw satisfaction in each other's eyes. A man will love this family only if he loves his wife and children. When they arrived at Kijia village, He Tian and Huo Yingji took their children to play in the mountains and let them see more of the scenery. He Tian and Huo Yingji each have a backpack. This is the kind of backpack specially designed for carrying children. There is a place for sitting inside, where the child is placed and slightly fixed with a rope. In this way, the children can not only sit inside, but also watch the scenery on the backs of their parents. Mom, Mom. There was a pheasant with bright feathers in front of it. Huo Ruiman pointed at the back with her chubby little finger and kept calling her mother, hoping that her mother would help her catch it. Huo Ruiman's voice startled Huo Ruwa, who was dozing off in a daze, and shouted, Dad, Dad. That means I hope Dad can come on and catch me quickly. Huo Yingji took a small stone in his hand and flicked it hard. The running pheasant fell to the ground and stopped moving. Chi Daniu picked it up excitedly, but Huoruiman and Huoruwa felt aggrieved when they saw that the beautiful thing was not moving, and pursed their lips. Wow wow wow. This is because I hate it and beat it to death. It stops moving and is no longer fun. Sister Tian Tian, what's wrong with them? Chi Daniu didn't understand. She clearly wanted something just now. Now that she's called back, why is she crying again? He Tian Tian smiled and said, haha, they want to live. Huo Yingzhe was also very innocent. He didn't expect the child to ask so much. Haha, it turns out that's what it is, Chi Daniu said, brother-in-law of the Huo family, hurry up and catch another one, otherwise these two babies will keep crying. He Tian Tian smiled, took out a big white rabbit from his pocket, bit it in half, put one half into Huo Ruiman's mouth, and the other half in Huo Ruwa's mouth. Sure enough, the two little kids stopped crying immediately. Sister Tian Tian, are you afraid that the child will choke? Chi Daniu asked. Half a piece of candy is not too small, so she was a little worried. No, they often eat like this, He Tian Tian said. Besides, there is an almighty husband and an almighty dad by her side, so there is no need to worry about this. With the candy, the two children stopped crying, their mouths were bulging, they moved from time to time, and they looked around with wet eyes. Sister Tian Tian, your two children are so cute, Chi Daniu praised her. She took care of her younger brothers and sisters. When they were young, they were very prone to crying and were very annoying. Haha, having children is very cute, but they are also very annoying when they make trouble. Tian Tian smiled. In fact, children brought a lot of laughter. Taking care of children is more tiring than working, but it is precisely in this way that you can feel the joy and hardship of being a parent. They walked around the mountains and got a lot of wild vegetables, preparing to go back to cook at noon. This trip to the mountain was fruitful. Huo Yingzhe used a wooden stick to catch two big fish in the water from the underground river. He made fish head soup for lunch and braised fish cubes. If Chi Daniu was not around, He Tian Tian would go to the cave to have a look. He Tian Tian hasn't been there since the Snake King left, and she doesn't know what's going on there now. At night, He Tian Tian tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. What's wrong? Huo Yingzhe asked, looking at his watch. It was past 12 o'clock at night. He Tian Tian sighed and said, hey, the Snake King has been away for more than a year. I don't know how it is doing in the demon world. Has it found its family and has it truly become a king? It turns out that He Tian Tian couldn't sleep because of that little snake. Haha, don't worry. Although it was very dangerous when he was going through the tribulation, it was also an opportunity for his skills to greatly increase. Huo Yingzhe said, the little spirit snake can survive the 9 heavens' mysterious thunder, which proves that it has enough ability. Hearing Huo Yingzhe's words, He Tian Tian nodded slightly. She believed that Huo Yingzhe would not deceive her. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 644. 642. Who else could she trust besides Huo Yingzhe? This is a secret between them. If you tell others, others may not believe it. Hey, actually I want to go to that cave today, but since Big Girl is here, I can't take her there. There are tools I've used before, and I'm afraid it will arouse Big Girl's suspicion. He Tian Tian whispered, there are so many memories there. When she was happy, she went there to talk freely with the Snake King and express her happiness. When she is unhappy or encounters difficulties, He Tian Tian will come over to discuss solutions with the Snake King. Moreover, here, she has space to be alone and think without worrying about outsiders seeing her true inner thoughts. It is very safe. Since you want to go, I can take you there, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile. Instead of letting her miss it here, it would be better to take her there for a walk, so she wouldn't think about it anymore. He Tian Tian secretly glanced at Huo Yingzhe and saw that Huo Yingzhe was not jealous. She breathed a sigh of relief and asked in a low voice, "Can I really go?" Huo Yingzhe is sometimes a bit petty, and He Tian is worried that Huo Yingzhe will be jealous. "Okay," Huo Yingzhe said, "there is Xiaoxian here, and I have set up a barrier so that no one will approach. We can leave." He Tian heard this and said happily, "Brother Yingzhe, you are so kind." Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, "As long as you want it, I will satisfy you, no matter what it is." Although Huo Yingzhe was often jealous on weekdays, it was just a taste of life. Deep down in his heart, he still believed in any sweetness. The most important thing between husband and wife is trust, loyalty to each other, and love for each other, then other conflicts can be resolved. "Okay, let's go then," He Tian said. She wanted to see the cave where she left many years of her youth. The discovery of the cave brought convenience to her life, and also provided the Snake King with a place to practice. "Yeah," Huo Yingzhe nodded, then summoned the little spin turtle and asked him to protect the child. At the same time, he set up a barrier so that no one or any animal could get close. Even the little spin turtle protects Huo Ruiman and Huo Ruwa outside the barrier. Huo Yingzhe and He Tian took advantage of the moonlight to head towards the back mountain. They walked quickly, and soon they arrived at the cave in the back mountain, where they could still see the wooden house guarding the peach garden. "Go in." Huo Yingzhe opened the barrier and went in with He Tian. He Tian went in. The inside was the same as the last time she came here, no changes. It cannot be said that there have been no changes. The wild jujube tree has grown stronger and stronger. There are many green wild jujubes on it, which are not yet mature. Maybe it's because the soil here is relatively fertile, and the jujube trees are particularly strong and bear a lot of fruit. "Brother Yingzhe, can this wild jujube tree mature within a month?" He Tian swallowed, thinking of the deliciousness of fresh wild jujube. Especially the jujubes from this tree are particularly delicious. Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, "It should be okay. You can see that some of them are already a little red. They will mature soon." "That's great. I want to pick all the wild dates on this tree," He Tian said, "but how do we take them away?" Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, "Haha, after that little snake is gone, the space on your ankle is still there, and you can hold some things." "Ah," He Tian was stunned, "Oh my god, why didn't I know? Brother Yingzhe, since you know, why didn't you tell me? If she travels alone with her brother Yingzhe, she can put all the messy things in the space at her ankles. It's not necessary at ordinary times. Why are you talking about this?" Huo Yingzhe smiled coquettishly. He would never admit that he was petty before. He didn't want He Tian to think of little spirit snake, and he didn't want He Tian to continue to use what little spirit snake left behind. Thing. The reason why I say it now is because the two are married, have a stable relationship and a warm family. At the same time, in He Tian's heart, the little spirit snake is a benefactor and a friend. As a husband, Huo Yingzhe would naturally not be petty. Okay, He Tian didn't believe it, and accused Huo Yingzhe with suspicious eyes. Huo Yingzhe looked embarrassed and turned to look away. He Tian was busy looking around in the cave and did not dwell on this issue. In the corner of the cave, there were tools she had used and several guns left behind by tomb robbers. The water in the pool is cold, and at the spring water keeps emerging out and flowing into the underground river. "The water here is still so clear," He Tian said with emotion, "it was not so cold before. I even took a bath in it." "Take a bath?" Huo Yingzhe's eyes lit up. This was a good idea. So Huo Yingzhe made a magic trick and slowly made the water inside become warmer. "Actually, you can make bubbles now." Huo Yingzhe stretched out his hand to test the temperature of the water. "It's hot now. Just stir it evenly." He Tian was moved, but with Huo Yingzhe by her side, even though they were husband and wife, she didn't want to be honest with each other without any barriers. It was too embarrassing. Let's forget it. He Tian shook her head and took 2 steps back. Huo Yingjia's eyes shone with interest. Because there was a child beside the bed, he couldn't let go and enjoy himself every time he was with He Tian. It's rare to be alone now, and it's such a quiet place, so of course I won't let it go. By the time He Tian woke up, it was already past 9 o'clock the next morning. Oops, I got up late, where is the child? He Tian looked around. It was quiet inside the house, but instead there were the sounds of adults playing with children outside the house. Just after He Tian breathed a sigh of relief, he felt his body aching, and immediately thought of the whole process last night. He Tian's face felt a little hot. He rubbed his face. He Tian decided to get up and could not stay in bed any longer. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 645. 643. When He Tian got up and came out, Aunt Lu was doing housework. Seeing He Tian, Aunt Lu winked ambiguously and said with a smile, "You are tired, the food is left in the pot for you, hurry up and eat it." The heat on He Tian's face had finally gone away, because Aunt Lu's eyes turned red with embarrassment again, and she hid in the kitchen regardless of the children behind her calling her. Grandma Chi-san laughed twice and said, "You are also a bad person. You are an old woman and you are thick-skinned. Tian is still a little daughter-in-law, so you are thin-skinned." "Haha," Aunt Lu smiled, "sooner or later, we will get to where we are. Besides, Tian is from the city and is thin-skinned. Look at the little wives in our village, one after another, after giving birth to children. Pungent." "That's true." Grandma Chi-san smiled. He Tian was like this, which proved that she was living a good life. Huo Yingjia was taking care of the children there, smiling honestly. He Tian had a hasty meal and then came out of the kitchen to do housework with Aunt Lu. After Chi Daniu had eaten, she came over to play and help take care of the children. Huo Yingjia went into the house to get something, and He Tian followed closely. Finally finding a chance to be alone with Huo Yingjia, she pinched Huo Yingjia's waist hard. "Don't be so." He Tian was shy and didn't know what words to use to describe Huo Yingjia. Then, what? Huo Yingjia chuckled and took advantage of He Tian's daze to kiss him secretly. He Tian pushed Huo Yingjia and said, "So, then Meng Lang, wanton." "Haha," Huo Yingjia smiled proudly, "what's wrong with me being slutty with my wife, Meng Lang, who also has a legal marriage certificate?" "Ah," He Tian was stunned, but she didn't expect Huo Yingjia to be so confident. "I can't sleep well because of you." "Why can't you sleep well?" Huo Yingjia retorted, "I see you sleep more soundly than usual, and you even snore at night." He Tian was furious and said, "You're the one snoring." "Okay, then I also snore." Huo Yingjia smiled, "Okay, I want to trim the child's nails." After saying that, Huo Yingjia took off the nail clippers from the keychain and Shi Shiren left the room. He Tian just watched Huo Yingjia go out, and suddenly thought that the content of her complaint seemed to be off topic. She obviously wanted him to control himself, so why did she switch to snoring? Hey, it's also a bad thing if a man is too smart. Unless Huo Yingjia intended to give in, He Tian would never be able to defeat Huo Yingjia with her eloquence. Outside, Huo Yingjia concentrated on cutting the child's nails. Huo Ruiman is very good, sitting on the small bench like a good baby. He Tian looked at the different movements of their mouths and knew that they had candy in their mouths, otherwise they would never be so honest. He Tian and Huo Yingjia are very serious about the education of their 2 children and they are very good at raising them. Seeing her husband, son, and daughter bathing in the morning sunshine, He Tian suddenly remembered everything since her marriage, especially after having children. The child opened his eyes and looked around confusedly. The child turned over for the first time, crawled for the first time, and walked tremblingly while holding onto the wall for the first time. The most touching thing is that when the child blurts out the words "Mom, Mom," he Tian bursts into tears. All the hard work and fatigue disappeared in this call. After Huo Yingji trimmed the child's fingernails and toenails, he turned around and saw He Tian, who was lost in thought. "What are you thinking about?" Huo Yingji asked. From the sweet expression, he saw happiness and felt very happy. "Haha, I didn't think about anything." He Tian came back to her senses. "By the way, I'll make it for you whatever you want to eat for lunch." Huo Yingji thought for a moment and said, "I don't care, but I need to steam some egg custard for my child." Well, He Tian nodded, "Since you don't say anything, then I will make your favorite braised pork ribs." He Tian saw the ribs in the kitchen and wanted to make this dish to reward the man in front of her. "Okay," Huo Yingji agreed. When it comes to food, He Tian will forget her previous temper. However, he regarded those little tempers as the pleasure of the boudoir, and did not care about them. He let his wife lose her temper, and he enjoyed it anyway. During lunch, He Tian asked, "Grandma, Professor Wang, Professor Gu have gone back, and Brother Yingji and I went to visit. What about Uncle Qian and Uncle Sun?" "They have all gone back to." Grandma Qi-san said, "Just 2 months ago, didn't they go to your house?" He Tian shook her head and said, "No." "Then there may be something going on." Grandma Qi-san said, "If they have something going on, they come to you, and you can help them according to the situation. If they don't come to you, don't go deliberately." Old man Qi reminded. He had been with Jianshikan and Sun Sihao for several years and knew the temperament of those two people. "How to say? I can't say it's bad, it's just very profitable." "I know, Grandpa Qi." He Tian nodded and said, "Originally just asking." In the afternoon, He Tian pushed the cart and took a walk in the village with Grandma Qi-san. Hearing the quarrel over there in the distance, He Tian squinted her eyes, took a closer look, and said, "Grandma, it seems to be Qi Shulai's house." After hearing this, Grandma Qi-san turned around and said, "It's probably the same old things again. Let's go back and don't go there." Although He Tian was curious, she didn't want to take her child to join in the fun. With Qi Duniu as a little loudspeaker, she would know what happened in a while. Just as Grandma Qi-san and He Tian were walking and laughing, they didn't notice that there was a woman at the entrance of the alley staring at their backs with resentment. He Tian had just returned home for half an hour when Qi Duniu came. He Tian had already prepared chrysanthemum tea and snacks for Qi Duniu. "Sister Tian, you must not know what kind of big thing happened in the village," Qi Duniu said mysteriously, her voice a little low. Grandma Qi-san was enjoying the cool air over there, fanning herself and saying, "Big girl, speak louder, tell me something." "Hey, big girl." Qi laughed. Accountant Qi and his educated youth son-in-law Li Mingkai just had a quarrel, and they almost got into a fight. "What are they quarreling about?" Grandma Qi-san asked. "Isn't their family fine?" "Li Mingkai didn't go to college last year, not because he didn't pass the exam, but because Accountant Qi hid Li Mingkai's admission letter." Big girl Qi said excitedly, "Aunt Qi was drying mats today, and she didn't pay attention, so she put the letter inside the mats and took it out to dry. Coincidentally, it was picked up by Li Mingkai's child. Li Mingkai saw it and realized what was going on, so they quarreled." The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 646. 644. After hearing this, Grandma Qi-san sighed and said nothing. "Qi Shulai is not a good person, and neither is Li Mingkai." "Haha, that's quite lively," He Tian said. "By the way, Li Mingkai didn't go to college last year. He should also take the college entrance examination this year, right?" I took part, Chi Darnio said. The notification letter hasn't come out yet, so I don't know whether I passed the exam or not. But now I think Li Mingkai is not worried about not passing the exam, but about whether he has passed the exam. Will he get the notification letter? Can you go to college? Chi Danio smiled secretly like a little hamster. Haha, he Tian Tian smiled. The accountant Chi's house will probably be more lively in the future. By the way, I remember that Lin Xiru didn't pass the exam last year, right? Did she take the exam this year? I passed the exam, Chi Daniu said. It seems to be some school in your Nan city. I don't know if I can pass the exam. I heard that Lin Xiru had been reviewing with Li Mingkai before, and it was rumored that Qi Zhenzhen often quarreled with Li Mingkai. Sometimes he even blocked Lin Xiru and scolded her, but the village was quite lively. You are also in school, how did you know this? He Tian Tian asked with a smile. Chi Danio's temperament became more and more obvious. He Chi Darnio said with a smile, I have 3 days of vacation every month. I often go home and my mother will tell me about things in the village, so I know about it. No wonder, He Tian Tian covered her mouth and smiled, it's the trumpet from Kijia village. Hey, I know you won't go there to watch the fun, but I want to know, so I came over to talk to you. I won't be so talkative in front of other people, Chi Daniu explained, not admitting it. The nickname of this little trumpet. Big Niu is a good girl, Grandma Chi-san praised her, saying she liked Big Niu very much. She has a good heart, is kind, and knows what to say and what not to say. She is a very good girl. Granddaughter Chi Zhenmin also has a good relationship with De Niu. By the way, Sister Tian Tian, be careful in the future. I saw Chi Fang Fang just now, Chi De Niu reminded. Chi Fang Fang has become yin and yang now, with a gloomy face and looks very scary. Yeah, He Tian Tian said, I'll be careful. For Chi Fang Fang, He Tian Tian doesn't have half a good impression. The more unlucky they are, the happier He Tian Tian is. Besides, she would only stay here for a month, so she could just avoid Chi Fang Fang. Afterwards, Chi Danio told He Tian Tian other things in the village, allowing He Tian Tian to understand Kijia village better. Huo Yingji closed his eyes and listened silently. Chi Fang Fang, Chi Jiangguo. Haha, wait and see. Kijia village is now very large, with a population of more than 800, including adults and children. When there are many people, there will be all kinds of conflicts, comparisons, fights between children, friction between adults, and conflicts over homesteads. He Tian Tian heard a lot about what happened in the village. This kind of life, although trivial, is quite interesting. In his previous life, He Tian Tian was very bored in such a living environment, but now as a bystander, he is not bored anymore and especially likes to listen. Such He Tian Tian made Huo Yingji dumbfounded. His little wife is really interesting. Sometimes it is as elegant as a mountain snowdrop, it is beyond the reach of others. Sometimes he is as lively as a lark, bringing joy to those around him. Sometimes, it is like a blooming peony flower, charming and rich and powerful. But at this time, He Tian Tian was just a talkative woman in the countryside, chatting with others, saying something with ecstasy. But Huo Yingji liked and cared about all kinds of her. This is love. In the blink of an eye, Huo Yingji and He Tian Tian had lived in Kijia village for 10 days. Chi Xiaoyan and Niu Dajin brought their children to Kijia village on Sunday. He Tian Tian likes such tranquility and liveliness. Huo Yingji was satisfied with his wife and children, no matter where he was. During this time, Huo Yingji collected a lot of good herbs in the back mountains, refined a lot of pills to strengthen the body, and gave some to Grandma Chi and Grandpa Chi, saying that these were health products handed down from above. If you feel unwell or mentally depressed, you can take one pill. Because there were a lot of them, He Tian Tian kept 2 bottles and planned to send them to her grandmother and parents abroad. In a relaxed and peaceful life, There are more or less hidden dangers. Chi Fangfang went to the county town and sent some food to her brother. Chi Fangfang's brother is Chi Jiangguo, who was released 2 months ago. After Chi Jiangguo entered prison, he suffered a lot in it. He was often beaten for no apparent reason. His leg was originally bad, but he was beaten until it became lame and he walked with a limp. He has also become thin, haggard, and much older. He is no longer the promising young man in Kijia village. Chi Fangfang sat in her brother's narrow room, her eyes dull. Fangfang, what are you thinking about? Chi Jiangguo asked softly. In the prison, he felt resentful and aggrieved, but he also knew that if he wanted to get out early, he had to be honest. Because he behaved well and because there were too many prisoners in the prison, Chi Jiangguo was released. After coming out, Chi Jiangguo felt that things were different and people were different. I learned from my family that He Tian was married, returned to the city, and had a child of her own. Because he had not seen He Tian, even though Chi Jiangguo hated He Tian, he had no chance to take action. It's nothing, Chi Fangfang said, brother, let's change to a better room. Your body is already weak, and living in such a house will be even worse for your health. Chi Jiangguo waved his hands and said nonchalantly, it's okay. I am a man and can live in any situation. You are in school now, and your parents and grandmother are old. I can't do the work at home. I can only make more money by repairing bicycles. Honor them. Brother, Chi Fangfang's eyes were red. Her brother was so kind and filial. Why did he end up like this? The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 647. 645. Chi Fangfang was confused and felt sorry for her brother. You're so old and you're still crying, Chi Jiangguo said. Well, it's my grandmother's birthday in a few days, and I happen to have some money to buy a chicken to help her old man. No need, brother, Chi Fangfang said, now we have a lot of food at home, and our life is pretty good. Save the money you earn, and change to a bigger, drier house. It's okay. We'll wait until we celebrate my grandma's birthday, Chi Jiangguo insisted, saying he was too unfilial. Chi Fangfang finally couldn't stand it anymore and cried loudly. What's wrong? Fangfang, Chi Jiangguo was a little embarrassed, am I going back to the village to embarrass you? Chi Fangfang shook her head and said, brother, no, no matter what, you are my brother. Then why are you crying? Chi Jiangguo asked dryly, although my legs are not good now, I still have skills and can still make money. Thinking that her brother would know that He Tian was coming when he returned to Kijia village, Chi Fangfang decided to tell her brother first so that he would be mentally prepared and not to take revenge again. Their current situation is lower than others and they cannot fight against others. Yes, it was He Tian who brought her children and husband to visit Grandma Chi San. Chi Fangfang said, I'm afraid that you will be stimulated when you go back, do something extreme, and be locked up again. Chi Jiangguo was stunned when he heard his sister's words and remained silent for a long time. He Tian is back. That hateful woman is back. Because of He Tian, he became what he is now, no longer human, no ghost. Seeing that her brother was silent for a long time and was lost in thought, Chi Fangfang hurriedly shouted, brother, brother, please wake up and never be as impulsive as before. They have many people, money, and power, we can't fight them. Chi Jiangguo remained silent for a long time. His good life, his prime years, were spent in prison. It can be said that He Tian ruined his life. Chi Jiangguo was already selfish, and he had been tortured and ridiculed in prison over the years, and his mentality became even more abnormal. Think about the strange looks from those people back in the village, the ridicule behind those people's backs. When dreams come back at midnight, Chi Jiangguo tosses and turns, unable to sleep at night. It's okay, Chi Jiangguo came to his senses and lowered his head, not wanting his sister Chi Fang Fang to see the resentment and madness in his eyes. "Brother, let's not worry about it, okay," Chi Fang Fang said, "if you come out now, I will graduate in 2 years. By then, we will build a big house in the county, bring my parents and grandmother over, and we will live a good life. Okay." Chi Fang Fang knew that they couldn't fight He Tian Tian. They couldn't fight him before and they wouldn't be able to fight him in the future. If that's the case, then bury your hatred in your heart and live peacefully. It's okay to curse them to death. God will take care of these bad guys. Chi Jiangguo felt sour, but even more resentful. If He Tian Tian was let go, what would he be before? Just a ridiculous joke. "Fang Fang," Chi Jiangguo said bitterly, but still nodded. "Brother, give up on the past. When I graduate, I get married and have children, and the first child will be adopted by you. Let's live a good life, okay?" Chi Fang Fang knew that her brother was not someone who gave up so easily, so she kept trying to persuade her. Chi Jiangguo also knew that it was impossible for him to find a wife in his current state. Although his sister's words moved him, they made him even more sad and angry. If He Tian Tian had agreed to his pursuit at that time, there would not have been so many things that happened later, let alone jail time. Maybe now his children are all over the place, instead of being single and having to adopt them from his sister. All the good things were destroyed because of He Tian Tian. Chi Jiangguo's thoughts became more and more paranoid. When he heard that He Tian Tian was back, he was stimulated by the news and became even more crazy. "Well, I understand," Chi Jiangguo said, "go back." Seeing that her brother was not as irritable as she imagined, Chi Fang Fang felt relieved and said, "I will wash your clothes, clean, and cook for you first, and then go back in the evening." Chi Fang Fang brought grain, vegetables, and eggs from home and cooked for Chi Jiangguo. When Chi Fang Fang went back in the evening, she explained to her brother carefully, hoping that he would calm down. However, Chi Jiangguo could not remain calm. The next day he returned to Kijia village. From a distance, I saw He Tian Tian and her husband talking and laughing happily with their 2 fat and white children. The family is so warm, harmonious, and happy. This should have been his, but now it belongs to someone else. The darkness and resentment in Chi Jiangguo's heart were infinitely amplified in front of the happy love at this moment, and he was on the verge of exploding. Chi Jiangguo did not go home, but returned to the county town in despair. He locked himself in the house without eating or drinking for 2 days. Chi Jiangguo organized all his savings and left half under his pillow. "My sister knows about his habit of hiding money and should be able to find it. Then I used the remaining money to buy engine oil. Because Chi Jiangguo repairs bicycles and needs oil, he can buy it as long as he has money and tickets. At night, he put all the gasoline and engine oil in the house into a large plastic bucket, tied it to a tricycle, and rode towards Kijia village in the night. If he doesn't want to live anymore, let's destroy him together." Along the way, Chi Jiangguo rode a tricycle with his head down. When it was dark and there was no business, Old Man Lu was about to go home when he received a business order. Because it was an ox cart, there was a lantern in front of Old Liu's cart. When he passed Chi Jiangguo, he looked at the pedestrians on the roadside and recognized Chi Jiangguo. Old Man Lu can be called the know-it-all in Daowen County. He has seen and heard many things, whether they are true or false. Especially Kijia village, which he visited frequently, he knew more. Naturally, I also know that Chi Jiangguo is enjoying the festival sweetly. But Old Man Lu also knew that Chi Jiangguo came out because of his good performance. Maybe he has already changed his ways? It's late at night, where is Chi Jiangguo going? Although he was curious, Old Man Lu didn't ask. But Chi Jiangguo's expression looked a little gloomy, and he didn't look like he was going home to honor his parents. Old Man Lu wanted to go back early, so he drove faster and passed Chi Jiangguo in a short while. They were far away from Chi Jiangguo. The person in the car whispered, "Brother Lu, did you see that?" The young man's expression just now was really scary. He looked like a madman, as if he was going to kill someone. "Ah, did you read that right?" Old man Lu was busy driving the car just now. He just glanced and recognized Chi Jiangguo, but he did not take a close look at Chi Jiangguo's expression. "I have good eyesight, how could I see it wrong?" the passenger said. "Anyway, he doesn't look like a good person at first glance. Let's hurry up and don't let him catch up." "Okay, then I'll hurry up," Old Man Lu agreed, speeding up and sending the person back. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 648. 646. Old Lu walked onto the main road from the fork in the road. After thinking about it, he felt something was wrong. Thinking about the many benefits of taking He Tian Tian and Huo Yingjia before, he needed to report a message so that they could be mentally prepared, lest Chi Jiangguo really wanted to kill people and set fires, causing disaster and regretting it. Old Man Lu turned around and drove the ox cart towards Qijia village. He didn't meet Chi Jiangguo along the way. Chi Jiangguo either didn't come to Qijia village or he had already entered the village. Old Man Lu drove the bullock cart into the village and soon arrived at Grandma Chi San's door. He suddenly smelled the smell of gasoline and realized something was wrong. He quickly knocked on the door and said, "Open the door quickly, Aunt Chi, I'm here to see you." He Tian Tian heard the sound, came out to open the door, and said in surprise, "Grandpa Lu, are you okay with coming here so late?" Old Man Lu came in and said, "Do you smell the smell of gasoline? Take the child out quickly." He Tian Tian was shocked and smelled the smell of gasoline. She quickly turned around and entered the house, and saw that there was a fire outside the house. Old Lu followed, He Tian Tian hugged one, and Old Lu helped hug the other. Old Man Chi, their Grandma Chi and Grandma Wang heard the noise and hurriedly came out of the house. At this time, the fire outside the house became even bigger. "Grandma, Grandpa Chi, come out quickly," He Tian Tian urged, "there is a fire in our house." "Oh, oh," Grandma Chi San was horrified, her legs and feet were weak with fear. In the darkness, Old Man Chi quietly held Grandma Chi San's hand. Although it was rough and thin, it was very strong. The frightened Grandma Chi San turned her head to look at Old Man Chi next to her. She felt at ease. Fortunately, there was still this person beside her. "Don't be afraid, let's go out," Old Man Chi said in a deep voice, pulling Grandma Chi San towards the door. At this time, people in the village also noticed the fire here and came to put out the fire. Just when He Tian Tian was about to open the door suddenly opened. Reflecting the mottled firelight, He Tian Tian saw a man with a ferocious expression, as if he was crazy. Chi Jiangguo? Chi Jiangguo had a torch and a sharply sharpened knife in his hand. He Tian Tian took 2 steps back and scolded, "Chi Jiangguo, if you don't want to die, leave quickly." Old Man Chi frowned, knowing that he would not catch fire for no reason, and cursed, "Chi Jiangguo, if you don't want to live, you have to think about your grandmother and parents." As expected, Chi Jiangguo was startled when he heard this, but was immediately replaced by a crazy and ferocious look. "Rather than linger on, I would rather die with her." After Chi Jiangguo finished speaking, he rushed forward without hesitation. He Tian Tian quickly retreated to protect the child in her arms. At this time, only a dark shadow was seen, jumping out from behind and rushing directly towards Chi Jiangguo. There was only a gudong sound, and Chi Jiangguo was thrown to the ground by a dark thing. The 2 children were frightened and cried loudly. When He Tian Tian saw the little turtle taking the lead in blocking Chi Jiangguo, He Tian Tian finally felt relieved. While Huo Yingjia was drinking at Chi Shujian's house, Village Chief Chi heard the restless sounds outside and came out of the house one after another. Huo Yingja broke into a cold sweat when he saw the direction of the fire. That was Grandma Chi San's home, where his wife and children were. Huo Yingja ran this way quickly, but fortunately it was dark, which hid the appearance of Huo Yingja running without touching the ground. Just when the little turtle was pressing down on Chi Jiangguo was not idle, and frantically slashed at the little turtle's body with the knife in his hand. The little spin turtle is a stone statue. Instead, it is carved from ancient solid stone. An ordinary machete cannot leave any trace on it. Fortunately, the torch in Chi Jiangguo's hand fell off and was thrown far away. Everyone did not see clearly what was on Chi Jiangguo's body. When Huo Yingja arrived, his eyes were red and he immediately made a magic formula. Chi Jiangguo passed out and became motionless. When the little spinner turtle saw his master coming, he took the opportunity to leave. Many people came with buckets to put out the fire, but these were wooden houses, and gasoline was poured on them. After water was poured on them, they burned more vigorously. Grandma Chi-san thought of the old photos she had collected in her house and wanted to go in and take them out. Old man Chi held Grandma Chi-san's hand tightly and said, "People are more important than photos. Hey, without those photos, I would gradually forget what I looked like before." Grandma Chi-san has relied on those photos for most of her life, and those photos are very important to her. Old man Chi smiled, his eyes, which were already a little cloudy, full of sincerity, and said softly, "It doesn't matter if you forget, I will always remember it." Grandma Chi-san was slightly startled, then smiled. Those are memories, things of the past. Now that his son is here, the old man can close his eyes. In the past few years, she will live peacefully with her second brother and spend the last few years of her life. He Tian finally felt relieved when she saw Huo Yingja. "Don't be afraid," Huo Yingja said softly, hugging his wife tightly. "I'm not afraid." Fortunately, Grandpa Liu came here this time, he Tian said. His son was still in Grandpa Liu's arms. "Thank you, Grandpa Liu." Huo Yingja took the child from old man Liu's arms and said thanks. "Let's not talk about it for now. Let's put out the fire quickly," old man Liu said. Tian, take the children, second uncle and third aunt to my house," Secretary Chi said. "We are here to put out the fire." Huo Yingja first sent the people to village Chief Chi's house, and then hurried over. Seeing the increasingly fierce fire, Huo Yingja was very annoyed. He pinched a magic formula again, and heard a click. Lightning and thunder appeared in the sky. Just as everyone was stunned, heavy rain poured down from the sky. Since the people of Kijia village believed in the dragon, Huo Yingja directly made a phantom of a dragon, which circled in the air for several circles before disappearing. The people of Kijia village were stunned. They waited until the dragon disappeared before they reacted. They knelt down and kowtowed one by one. Even old man Lu, who was moving the ox cart to another place outside, saw this scene. "I heard that Kijia village was a village protected by the dragon before, and I thought it was a legend. I didn't expect it to be true. It was worth it to make this extra trip to see the dragon." Old man Lu kowtowed many times, hoping that the dragon could feel his sincerity and protect him and his family for a long life and peace. The fire was quickly put out, but it was dark now, so it was not suitable to go in and clean up now, so as not to be hit by the charred wood. "Everyone, go back. Thank you very much." "I will thank you tomorrow." Secretary Chi bowed to everyone and thanked them. With the protection of the dragon, he was not afraid of anything. Huo Yingja pointed to the unconscious person lying on the ground and said, "That person set the fire. What should we do now?" "Tie him up." Village Chief Chi didn't know who it was yet, and his face was gloomy. "Let's see who wants to kill people and set fire to the fire." The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 649. 647. After hearing what village chief Chi said, everyone was ready to leave, but now they stopped and gathered around him. Chi Shuming, a young man with a torch in his hand, stepped forward to check. He was shocked and said, "It turns out to be Chi Jiangguo." Ah, Chi Shulai was also shocked. How could it be Chi Jiangguo? Don't talk nonsense. If Chi Jiangguo sets the fire, Chi Jiangguo will be unlucky and go to jail. He deserves it. But they have offended the richest old lady in Kijia village. They will never be able to stand up again in the future. Although it is different from before, Chi Jiangguo is unmistakable. If you don't believe it, come and see, Chi Shuming said loudly. This Chi Jiangguo is really not a thing, he is cruel and ruthless. Chi Jiangguo raped He Tian before and was imprisoned for several years. Now that he finally came out, although the villagers rejected him a little, they did not actually bully Chi Jiangguo. At most, they laughed at him behind his back. The villagers have been around for a long time, who cares about this? I never expected that Chi Jiangguo would be so obsessed with it and want to take revenge. This revenge is to burn Grandma Chi San's family to death. Big and small, so many lives? Chi Shulai was frightened and walked up to Chi Shuming. He took a closer look at the torch in Chi Shuming's hand. His body swayed and he almost fell to the ground. How could this Jiangguo do this? Chi Shulai yelled angrily. He also had family members, so he immediately expressed his attitude and distanced himself from the relationship. Chi Dazu frowned and said, "A few young people came and tied up Chi Jiangguo and sent him to the county police station early tomorrow morning. Chi Jiangguo is a lunatic and should not be released and locked up for the rest of his life." Chi Fangfang heard a noise in the village and originally wanted to get up to take a look, but saw heavy rain outside and didn't get up. "Fang, what happened outside?" Chi's mother asked softly. She had been flustered and short of breath today. She always felt uncomfortable and couldn't sleep at night. Chi Fangfang replied, "Maybe a couple in the village had a quarrel in the middle of the night. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's raining outside and it should disperse in a while. We will know what happened tomorrow." "Oh," Chi's mother agreed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep, staring at the roof. Before dawn the next day, Village Chief Chi asked people to escort Chi Jiangguo to the County Public Security Bureau. Lao Wu and Xiao Chen came to investigate. The evidence is conclusive. There are also the testimonies of Old Man Lu and other villagers. Chi Jiangguo's people have all stolen the money. The evidence is conclusive. By the time Chi Fangfang and Chi's mother found out, Chi Jiangguo had already been locked up. Chi's mother fainted on the spot. Chi Fangfang sat there stupidly, and the old woman Chi couldn't take a breath and died. Chi Shulai was busy trying to clear up the relationship, but his wife was gone over there, so he couldn't just ignore her and take care of the funeral arrangements. Fortunately, Chi Shulai still had some respect in the village, and a few people came to help, otherwise the funeral of MRSG might not have been possible. Chi Fangfang regretted telling her brother He Tian so much that he couldn't think about it and did such a thing. He Tian is the fate of her brother's life. Although Chi Fangfang hates He Tian, she has accepted her fate and just wants to live a good life as a family. The root of all this is He Tian. If she didn't come to Kijia village, her brother would only be depressed for a while, then slowly recover and forget about it. In the morning, Chi Jiangguo was sent to the County Public Security Bureau. In the afternoon, Chi Jiangguo committed suicide in the detention center out of fear of being punished. Chi Jiangguo knew that the matter had been exposed. This time it was arson. With his previous criminal record and no one to help him deal with the situation, he was expected to be sentenced to a long sentence. His life had no meaning anymore, he had long wanted to die. Even if He Tian's family was successfully burned to death last night, he would commit suicide and be buried with him. Chi Jiangguo's death left the County Public Security Bureau in a panic. Fortunately, Chi Jiangguo was really guilty, so the case was closed without much effort. Let's say that after Huo Yingzhi sent He Tian, Grandma Qi-san, Old Man Qi, and the children to Secretary Qi's house, he asked Liang Hongyu to help take care of the children. Hey, Qi Jiangguo is crazy, otherwise he wouldn't be able to do such a thing, Old Man Qi said slowly, making one wrong step and another wrong step. Hey, Grandma Qi-san also sighed, it is said that turning back is a good thing. There are a few people who can turn back. He doesn't realize his mistakes, so he thinks about revenge whenever he gets a chance. It's surprising that he will end well. He Tian knew that Qi Jiangguo wanted to take revenge on her, so she apologized, Grandma, Grandpa Qi, I'm sorry, it's all because of me that I have caused trouble to you. Silly boy, don't say such things, Grandma Qi-san said, you didn't provoke Qi Jiangguo, it's because he didn't repent, what does it have to do with you? He Tian has already let go of Qi Jiangguo. In her previous life, He Tian was bitten by a little spirit snake and was reborn. Huo Yingzhi helped her take revenge. She has no regrets. In this life, Qi Jiangguo had evil intentions towards her, but she was sent back in revenge, and the two sides were now clean. As long as Qi Jiangguo doesn't come to trouble her, she will definitely not come to trouble Qi Jiangguo and her family. However, everything is He Tian's wishful thinking. Hey, such a nice house burned down like this, He Tian said with a bitter smile. There were also Grandma Qi-san's belongings inside. The old ones won't go and the new ones won't come in. As long as people are fine and the house burns down, we can build it again, Grandma Qi-san said nonchalantly, I want to build a villa on top of the original house. It will have several floors. Let's make some rooms. If possible, I will pay for the houses on both sides to build a big yard and enjoy it. Just because Grandma Qi-san doesn't want to go abroad doesn't mean she doesn't like to enjoy life. After all, Grandma Qi-san is an experienced old lady. She wants a flush toilet and a water heater for bathing. While she's still in good health, she should enjoy life. Okay, He Tian said with a smile, I'll pay for the house. Haha, no need, Tian, Grandma Qi-san said with a smile, if your uncle Shuliang has no money, I'll let you pay. He has a lot of money. How can he be reluctant to build a house for me? He Tian smiled and said, Uncle Shuliang is your biological son, my father is your godson, and I am your godson. You must pay half of the money. If you don't want it, you are being distant with us. Tian is filial to you, so keep it. Otherwise, she will feel uneasy when she goes back, Old Man Qi advised, if you want to build it, build the best one, the small Western-style building. Okay, Grandma Qi-san said, okay, it's late, Tian, take the children and go to Xiao Yan's house to rest. He Tian looked at her son who was confused and had tears on his face, and felt very distressed. She was scared tonight. Fortunately, the children are all fine. Xiao Swangui has made a great contribution. When I have time tomorrow, I will thank Xiao Swangui. When they arrived at Qi Xiao Yan's room, He Tian got a towel, wiped the children's faces, applied some moisturizer, and coaxed the two children to sleep. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 650. 648. In a daze, He Tian saw that Huo Yingzhi was back. Huo Yingzhi came back, and He Tian finally felt at ease. Brother Yingzhi, how are you? He Tian asked in a low voice, rubbing his eyes and hugging Huo Yingzhi with some fear. Huo Yingzhi patted He Tian's back gently and said, it's okay. Qi Jiangguo will never think of it again in this life. This time, I was negligent and frightened you and the child. How can I blame you? He Tian raised her head, you didn't know that such a thing would happen beforehand. Don't blame yourself. We'll be fine. This time, the little spin turtle made great efforts. If not, the knife in Chi Jiangguo's hand hit me. The little spin turtle is pretty good, Huo Yingzhi praised, but at the same time he had a bad feeling in his heart. Huo Yingzhi found that he could predict other people's affairs, but he could not predict his own affairs, his wife's and 2 children's affairs. Is this the law of heaven? If so, he is just a human now and cannot compete with the law of heaven. In this case, we can only think of other ways. But, how can we avoid such a thing? Huo Yingzhi couldn't find a suitable method for a while, so he relaxed for a while and started thinking about it from tomorrow on to find a perfect solution. At dawn, Grandma Chi-san held the wall, walked through the alley, and came to the door of her house. Even though it rained, there was still smoke rising from time to time in some places. Although she was mentally prepared, Grandma Chi-san's eyes felt a little sore when she saw this. He Tian suffered the most severe burns. The side room where Huo Yingzhi lived, the main room and the side room were mostly burned. Hey, what a pity, Grandma Chi-san murmured softly, her eyes red. Don't be sad, old man Chi comforted in a low voice. If you are sad, Tian, Yingzhi will feel even more uncomfortable. Grandma Chi-san wiped her tears and saw Chi Dazu coming over and said, Dazu, you have finished your business. Can you find a few people to help me go in and see if the photo album in my dressing cabinet is still there? Although it would be a pity to burn other things, money can buy them, but those photo albums cannot. Okay, third aunt, during this period, you and second uncle will live in my house, Secretary Chi said. I will bring someone in later to help search for the things in the house. Then thank you for your hard work, Grandma Chi-san said. Tell them to work for me, I won't let them work in vain. Hee, you are busy working for nothing, Chi Dazu smiled and said. Third aunt, be open-minded and don't take it to heart. When the matter is finished, I will build you a big house. Okay, Grandma Chi-san smiled and followed old man Chi to Chi Dazu's house. At noon, Chi Dazu really brought back a lot of things, most of which belonged to Grandma Chi-san. As for He Tian, there is almost nothing left in the house where Huo Yingzhi lives. The two of them can only temporarily wear the clothes left by Chi Xiaoyan and Niu Daijin at Secretary Chi's house. As for the children, it's summer, so I asked Village Chief Chi's grandson to put on his granddaughter's clothes and make do with it. After this matter is over, go to the county town to buy it. Hey, He Tian, Huo Yingzhi's money, wallet, etc. were also burned. Just as I was thinking about sending a telegram to my parents-in-law to send some, I was stopped by Grandma Chi-san. Tian, you have burned all your things, and I still have a lot here, Grandma Chi-san said. There is a box to put the money and deposit slips. Don't send a telegram to ask your parents-in-law to send money. Grandma, He Tian felt guilty and embarrassed to take Chi-san's grandma's money. You also said that she is my god-granddaughter, so why can't she ask for my money? Grandma Chi-san said with a smile. Don't worry, there are tens of thousands in it, it's enough to spend. He Tiandian nodded and said, okay. If she insists on not agreeing, Grandma will be angry. When he heard that Chi Jiangguo was dead, He Tian suddenly seemed relieved. Perhaps death is the best relief for Chi Jiangguo. When Wang Shuilian heard about her cousin's affairs, she hurried over to help with the funeral arrangements. In the evening, when Chi Fangfang kept vigil, Wang Shuilian was by her side. Auntie, thank you for coming to help me, Chi Fangfang said gratefully. She had been so kind to her aunt before, but her aunt was still so kind to her, regardless of the past grudges. Wang Shuilian smiled bitterly and said, when I was in the most difficult time, my mother and brother didn't care about me. Fortunately, my aunt took me in. I will always remember this kindness. Now there are only 2 of us sisters here. You used to, you're still young and you can't tell the difference between right and wrong. Now I'll talk to you, and I hope you can listen. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Chi Fangfang has grown up and become more sensible, otherwise she would not have tried so hard to persuade Qi Jiangguo before. Qi Fangfang wiped her tears and said, "In the past, I was blinded by hatred. I could only see the faults of others and not my own. Now thinking about it, the things I did before were really wrong. I know what you want to advise me. I hope you won't cause trouble for He Tian like my brother did in the future." Seeing that Qi Fangfang could figure it out, Wang Shuilian felt relieved that it was not beyond hope. "Yes, I just wanted to come over and talk to you about this matter," Wang Shuilian said. "From beginning to end, you have to go through the matter. Even if He Tian did something to you, it was because you and your brother first she only fought back after doing something sorry for her. Let's just say that this time, if your brother didn't set the fire, nothing would happen to your brother, and he wouldn't commit suicide after the incident was revealed." Qi Fangfang shed more tears, choked with sobs, and finally nodded and said, "I know, in fact, I know everything, I just didn't want to admit it before. I know I was wrong now, but I didn't persuade my brother." Wang Shuilian had some sympathy for her aunt, but was more disappointed. "Then since you have figured it out, don't hold grudges against He Tian," Wang Shuilian said. "I am not looking at outsiders, but I think that only when people can distinguish right from wrong can they behave upright. Now I only have you as my only child, so you have to be good in the future." Qi Fangfang listened, nodded, and said, "Auntie, I understand." "It's good to know." Wang Shuilian nodded and took out 200 yuan from his body. "You take this money, you have to spend money inside and outside." "Sister." Qi Fangfang was embarrassed to accept it, and her aunt usually helped her a lot. Wang Shuilian said, "If you feel bad about it, just lend it to me. When you have the money, you can pay it back to me, so you feel better." "Uncle, aunt is just irritated, nothing serious, take good care of her for 10.5 days, it'll be fine in a month." "Thank you sister." Qi Fangfang thanked her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 651. 649. During the wake, Qi Fangfang figured out many things under Wang Shuilian's explanation. It's time to let go of the resentment in your heart. Keeping those resentments in her heart, sooner or later she will swallow up her sanity, make her even crazier, and take her brother's path of no return. After finishing the funeral at home, Qi Fangfang met He Tian in Qijia village. Qi Fangfang frantically ran to He Tian. Everyone thought Qi Fangfang wanted to come over and fight with He Tian. Even He Tian herself took a few steps back while holding her child. Huo Yingjia blocked He Tian's money and said coldly, "Don't come any further." Huo Yingjia was already prepared. Once Qi Fangfang came forward, he would counterattack, regardless of whether the opponent was a man or a woman. Qi Fangfang stopped, knelt down and kowtowed, "He Tian, our family was sorry for you in the past, and I also did things that were sorry for you. Now my brother has committed suicide, my grandmother is also angry to death, and my parents are bedridden. I will never trouble you again, I hope you will let us go this time." He Tian raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect Qi Fangfang to come to apologize. Whether it was true or false, He Tian would not be aggressive in front of so many people. Although Qi Jiangguo set a fire before, Qi Jiangguo died after all, and so did Qi Jiangguo's grandmother. Death is like a lamp going out. No matter what they have done before, the living will always be a little more tolerant of the dead. "Qi Fangfang, please get up. As long as you don't harm me, I have never wanted to have trouble with you," He Tian said, and then returned to village chief Qi's house with the child in his arms. "Thank you, He Tian." Qi Fangfang kowtowed and then slowly stood up. If she continues to take revenge on He Tian or her family like her brother, Given their abilities, Chi Fang Fang, will be the most unlucky. Now that her brother is gone, her grandmother has passed away, and her parents are seriously ill, she needs to cheer up. After giving up her previous grudges, Chi Fang Fang felt lighter on her shoulders and less shadowed in her heart. She wants to finish her studies well, honor her parents well, and live the rest of her life well. He Tian Tian also breathed a sigh of relief. It would be best if he could resolve this complaint. He Tian Tian was afraid that if Chi Fang Fang persisted in her obsession, she would have to deal with Chi Fang Fang in order to protect herself. Chi Fang Fang's behavior surprised Huo Yingjia, but because of her sincere remorse, he would not deal with her for the time being. Huo Yingjia felt more and more restricted by the law of heaven, and would not take action if he could. If Chi Fang Fang is restless, he will retaliate and punish her in normal human ways. Qi Zhenmin came back from country M and was very angry when he saw that his home was burned down. However, he heard that the person who set the fire had committed suicide, so he stopped pursuing it. The house is gone, then build a better big house with a very good drainage heating system. Sister Tian Tian, would you like to see how the house is built? Qi Zhenmin has now graduated from college and is a beautiful, generous, and enthusiastic girl. He Tian Tian took the drawing drawn by Qi Zhenmin, nodded and said, "Yes, the house is very good. Your drawing looks good. Have you ever learned to design a house?" Hearing Sister Tian Tian ask, Qi Zhenmin said proudly, "Sister Tian Tian, I have a double degree. Business administration is just one of my majors, and I also have a degree certificate in architecture." Ah, He Tian Tian was surprised, "You are so awesome. Double major." Qi Zhenmin was even more proud and said, "My father asked me to major in business administration, so that I could help in the family business in the future. However, I don't really like business. I like construction, so I chose this major. Fortunately, I worked hard and successfully obtained the degree, but I didn't have the chance to use it after graduation. Now I finally have the opportunity to show off my skills and build the best house for my grandmother." "Haha, that's awesome," He Tian Tian sincerely praised. "I saw that the drainage system inside is also quite good. Why not buy the two nearby houses and give them money to build houses elsewhere, so that you can complete the drainage system here is gone?" "Yes, I think so too," Qi Zhenmin said. "I will try it first. If they are willing to sell it, I will give them a high price. If they are not willing, I will ask Uncle Qi to help our family get more points elsewhere. Some homesteads and new houses. If my grandmother hadn't been nostalgic for the old house, she would have built another one outside, which would have been simpler." "Well, that's okay," He Tian Tian nodded. "If you have anything to say, tell me, Uncle Qi. Grandma Qi-san has done a lot of good things for Kijia village. I believe other people will be happy." Since you said yes, I'll show it to Grandma," Qi Zhenmin said excitedly, like a child asking for credit, and went to find Grandma Qi-san. After a while, Grandma Qi-san's voice of admiration came. "Grandma, if you like it, then we will build it according to this," Qi Zhenmin said. "It just so happens that the factory is about to be built. I will supervise the construction of the house. It must be built well, with many rooms, so that more families can come. People can live there too." "Okay," Grandma Qi-san nodded. "After all, it involves relocation. Just tell people that if you don't want to, forget it. Let's go to other places and don't embarrass others." "I took note of it," Grandma Qi Zhenmin said, and then went to find Secretary Qi. Qi Zhenmin and Secretary Qi went to the two houses to the west and the one to the east of Qi-san's grandma to ask them if they were willing to move. If they are willing to move, Qi Zhenmin is willing to build 5 large tile-roofed houses, 2 side rooms, a kitchen and a yard for each of their families in other places, and give them 500 yuan. When the 3 families heard this, they looked around their dilapidated houses and agreed on the spot. Anyway, They were all in Kijia village and under the protection of the dragon, so they could build houses in other places and still have new houses. Chi Jinmin signed the contract and found several respected elders in the village to witness it. In this way, neither party was afraid that the other party would break their promise. Huo Yingzhe and He Tiantian had been in Kijia village for more than 20 days and were about to return to Nanji. They had to prepare things and leave in the next few days, and they were reluctant to leave. However, there is no banquet that will never end. There will be separations when there are reunions. He Tiantian has become accustomed to this situation. Even if she was sad, she did not show it on her face. Grandma Chi-san took out 500 yuan and some notes that could be used on the road and gave them to He Tiantian and Huo Yingzhe, leaving them to buy train tickets and use them on the road. This was given in front of Huo Yingzhe. Privately, Grandma Chi-san gave He Tiantian 3 big red belly bands. The one for Huo Ruimin had a big peach embroidered on it, the one for Huo Ruwa had a big carp embroidered on it. On He Tianatian's big red belly band, there were gorgeous peony flowers embroidered, and there were some dewdrops on the petals. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 652. 650. He Tiantian liked receiving such a gift very much. At the same time, I also admire Grandma Chi-san's thoughts and attitude. Such a woman is really amazing. Huo Yingzhe came in from the outside and saw He Tiantian holding a sexy belly band, and his eyes widened. Put it on, Huo Yingzhe hugged He Tiantian and whispered, he wanted to see. He Tianatian's face turned red with embarrassment. She didn't dare to look directly into Huo Yingzhe's eyes. She could only find an excuse and said, this is village chief Chi's house. There are so many people living there, so it's not easy to mess around. Stop messing around, let's go to the back mountain. Okay, Huo Yingzhe continued to hesitate, I especially want to leave tomorrow night. Before leaving, how about we go to the back mountain? You also said you were leaving soon. He Tiantian declined, in case someone saw him. Go, go, Huo Yingzhe said shamelessly, his innocent eyes made He Tiantian give in. Okay, okay, He Tiantian swallowed, hoping to get up earlier tomorrow. He Tiantian couldn't bear to part with the belly band, so she put it under the quilt and didn't want to take it with her. Huo Yingzhe grabbed it and stuffed it into his arms. This is an important supporting role. Today I want to see He Tiantian wearing a peony red belly band. It must be beautiful. Huo Yingzhe told the turtle to protect the child, then set up a barrier and carried He Tiantian to the cave in the back mountain in a blink of an eye. Along the way, Huo Yingzhe was thinking about the belly band. It was so beautiful. I loved it. In the morning, although he couldn't bear to leave He Tiantian, Huo Yingzhe had to wake up He Tiantian to prevent He Tiantian from being unable to get up and losing his temper again. So tired. He Tiantian muttered unconsciously, so sleepy. Well, it doesn't matter if she loses her temper, as long as she wants to sleep. Huo Yingzhe took the child out. There were many people in the yard, playing with the toddlers, and soon everyone started laughing. Breakfast was prepared over there, and He Tiantian finally got up. He Tianatian's little face was rosy and shiny, and there was a little mark on the exposed neck. At a glance, it was clear that she looked overly pampered and delicate. He Tiantian was embarrassed to be seen, holding a big bowl and immersed herself in eating. After breakfast, He Tiantian quickly grabbed the job of washing dishes so as not to be stared at all the time and feel like sitting on pins and needles. Time passed quickly. After lunch, He Tiantian, Huo Yingzhe, and Grandma Wang were leaving. Secretary Chi personally drove the ox cart to see them off. Grandma Chi-san, Old Man Chi sent them all the way to the entrance of the village. Grandma, Grandpa Chi, please take good care of your health. I will come to visit you when I have the opportunity. He Tiantian said goodbye and told the two old people to take good care of their health. Although birth, old age, illness, and death are normal in life, the idea of seeing them once less flashed through He Tian's mind again and again. She could only look for opportunities and try her best to come and see the two old people. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said nonchalantly, "We will take care of ourselves, don't worry, live a good life with Yingja, and raise your children well. If you are busy, don't come here. After all, the journey is long, adults will suffer, and children will suffer too. No, if you are busy, you can come and take a look." Yes, He Tian nodded and hugged Grandma Chi-san tightly. "It's getting late and I have to leave." Village Chief Chi prepared a lot of dry goods from the mountains and local specialties for them. "Oh, if you don't leave, the peaches will be ripe for another month." Secretary Chi shook his head, "But don't worry, I will send you some when they are ripe." "Thank you very much, Village Chief Chi." He Tian smiled and said, "Those peaches are very delicious and you will be able to eat them soon." Niu Daijin, Village Chief Chi, and Chi Xiao Yan personally put them on the train. The train started to move, and He Tian leaned out 1/3 of her body, waving goodbye to the people below until she couldn't see the people behind clearly. Every time we parted, He Tian felt lost and sat alone. Huo Yingja, Grandma Wang coaxes the children and does not disturb He Tian. After a while, He Tian recovered and replaced Grandma Wang to take care of the child. The two-seater car was burned. This time on the train, the three of them had to watch the children at all times. Huo Yingja was responsible for chores such as buying food, while He Tian and Grandma Wang took care of the children. At night, Huo Yingja let He Tian sleep, and he sat by the bed to watch the child. Fortunately, the journey lasted 1 day and 1 night, and it passed quickly. When He Tian and Huo Yingja got off the car with their children in their arms, Secretary Guo was already waiting there. Secretary Guo sent the person home before going back. He Tian packed some Daowen County specialties and gave them to Secretary Guo to take away. Secretary Guo is very familiar with them and is not polite. When I arrived at my own home, I could finally relax. He Tian put the children in diapers and spread a mat on the ground for them to play on. However, it is most difficult to take care of a child who has just learned to walk. He will not sit or lie down on the mat honestly. Instead, he will climb out of the mat, stand up on the stone table or wall, and start walking in the yard. Their journey of discovery. The adults wanted to carry them over, but were very unhappy and cried loudly. In order to find peace, they can only let them explore at home. As a result, the child's body was bruised and red. Not to mention, the pots, pans, flowers and plants in the house were ruined and were subjected to the child's inhuman torture. Although I feel sorry for the children, these children are much stronger, so I only have 2 children. In the past, when I couldn't walk, I could put my child aside and do something. Now, as long as I wake up, I can't leave people around me. Just because he was busy with his children, He Tian temporarily forgot about the loss of parting. Huo Yingja was happy to see the results. Compared with He Tian, who was lost in the window, it was not as good as her eyebrows raised and scolding, and she was bright and cheerful when she taught her 2 children.